Jake, it's great to have you here again. Today, we're talking about something we all do sometimes without even realizing it.
Yep, comparing ourselves to others. Whether it's scrolling on Instagram, seeing someone's new job, or hearing about someone's success, we often start thinking, wow, they're doing better than me?
Exactly. And I think it's human nature. We all want to feel like we're doing okay, right? But sometimes looking at others makes us feel like we're not enough.
Totally. Before we dive deeper, if you enjoy practicing English with us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with a friend. It really helps our small podcast grow.
And we'd love to hear your opinions. Have you ever felt jealous or down after comparing yourself to someone? What happened, and how did you deal with it?
All right, let's get started. So, Jake, when was the last time you caught yourself comparing your life to someone else's?
Oh, that's easy. Last week, I saw an old classmate post about his promotion on LinkedIn. He's now a team leader at a big company. And for a second, I thought, what am I doing with my life?
I've been there. That thought hits hard sometimes. But it's interesting, we only see their highlight reel, not their full story.
Exactly. I think that's one reason comparison is so dangerous. We compare our real life to someone else's best moments.
That's a great way to say it. And that phrase, highlight reel, means only showing the best parts, like a movie trailer of your life. It's not real, but it looks perfect.
Right. And I think especially in today's world with social media everywhere, it's almost impossible not to compare.
Yeah, and it's funny, even when we know it's not real, we still feel that little sting of envy.
It's like our brain knows the logic, but our heart doesn't.
Exactly. And that's what we'll explore today. Why we compare, how it hurts us, and how we can stop doing it.
Sounds good. Let's dig deeper into how comparison actually affects our happiness. So, Anna, you mentioned how comparison affects happiness. I think it's crazy how quickly it can change our mood. One moment you're fine, and then boom, you see someone's post and suddenly feel behind.
Yeah, it's like an emotional roller coaster. One small thing can make you question your whole life. I remember this one time. I saw a friend's vacation photos. Beautiful beaches, perfect smiles. And for a second, I thought, why can't I have that life?
Oh, I know that feeling. But here's what's funny. That same friend later told me she was going through a tough breakup during that trip. The photos didn't show any of that.
Exactly. That's the thing. We never really know what's happening behind the scenes.
True. And that's one of the hidden costs of comparison. It steals your peace of mind.
Yeah, that's a good phrase. Hidden cost. It means something you pay for, but not with money. You pay with your happiness, confidence, or time.
Right. When we compare ourselves too much, we stop appreciating what we already have. It's like your mind keeps saying, not enough, not enough.
That voice is exhausting, and it's so sneaky, too. Sometimes it's not even about big things like careers or success. It can be about small things, looks, clothes, likes, even how someone speaks English better.
Yeah, that one hits home for English learners. I've heard students say, oh, my accent isn't as good as theirs, or they speak faster. But that thinking only slows them down.
Totally. Instead of learning, they start doubting themselves. And that's what comparison does. It turns learning or growth into a competition.
I used to feel that when I was starting my career. I had a friend who always seemed 2 steps ahead. Every time he achieved something, I'd secretly feel small.
That must have been hard.
It was, but later I realized something important. My friend wasn't my rival. He was just on a different timeline.
I love that. Different timeline. That's such a gentle reminder. We're all moving through life at our own speed, and that's okay.
Yeah, but it took time to see that. I had to unlearn the habit of comparing.
Same here. And that's what we'll talk about next. How to understand and accept your own path without feeling like you're behind. So, Jake, earlier you mentioned that everyone's on a different timeline. I think that's such a powerful idea.
Yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, no two people have the same journey. We all have different experiences, challenges, and timing. But we forget that when we compare ourselves.
Exactly. It's like running a race, but each person has their own track. You can't compare your step 2 with someone else's step 20.
I love that. In English, there's a saying, run your own race. It means focus on your own path, not other people's.
That's a great phrase for our listeners to learn. Run your own race. It's about progress, not perfection.
You know, this reminds me of my cousin, Leo. He didn't go to college right away. Instead, he worked part-time jobs for years, figuring out what he wanted. Some people thought he was wasting time.
Oh yeah? What happened later?
Well, after a few years, he finally studied design, started freelancing, and now he runs his own small creative studio. It took him longer than others, but he's happier than ever.
That's such a good example. Sometimes we think being late means we've failed, but really it just means we're learning at our own speed.
Exactly. And that's something I wish I'd understood earlier. When I was in my 20s, I felt like there was this invisible clock, like I had to achieve everything fast.
Same here. I think many people in their 20s feel that way. It's like society has this timeline. Graduate by 22, job by 23, success by 25, and if you don't, you feel behind.
Yeah, but when you step back, you realize there's no actual rule book. Everyone's path is different.
True, and comparison makes us forget that we're growing too, just in our own direction.
It's like plants. Some bloom in spring, others in winter, but they're all beautiful in their own time.
That's such a lovely image. And it's also true for learning English. Some people learn fast, others take time, but both are learning.
Exactly. The important part is not to quit because you're comparing. Just keep moving forward.
So instead of competing, we can start understanding and respecting our own process.
Right. And in the next part, we'll talk about how to turn comparison into something positive, something that inspires instead of hurts.
Okay, Anna, now that we've talked about accepting our own path, I'm curious. Do you think it's possible to use comparison in a good way?
Actually, yes. I think comparison isn't always bad. It depends on how we look at it. If we see someone doing something amazing, instead of feeling jealous, we can feel inspired.
Right, like turning envy into motivation. I like to call that learn from, not compete with.
That's a perfect phrase for our listeners. Learn from, not compete with, means you can look at others as teachers, not rivals.
Exactly. For example, when I started my first podcast years ago, I used to listen to others and think, their sound quality is better, their voices are smoother. It made me feel bad at first.
I think every creator feels that at the beginning.
Yeah, but then I realized instead of being upset, I could study what they did well. I learned about microphones, editing tools, and how to speak more naturally. So that comparison helped me grow.
That's such a healthy mindset. I had a similar moment when I was learning yoga. I used to compare myself to people who were super flexible. But one day, my teacher said, yoga isn't about how deep you bend, it's about how deeply you breathe.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, that totally changed my view. I stopped competing and started observing. Instead of saying, she's better than me, I started saying, what can I learn from her?
That's the shift, right? The moment we stop feeling threatened and start feeling curious.
Exactly. And for English learners, this is huge. When you hear someone speaking fluently, don't think, I'll never be like them. Think, what can I learn from the way they speak?
That's such good advice. We can admire someone's skill without losing confidence in ourselves.
Yeah, because admiration and comparison feel similar, but one builds you up while the other tears you down.
Beautifully said. It's like fire. It can burn you or it can keep you warm. It depends how you use it.
I love that image. So, next time we feel that spark of comparison, maybe we can pause and ask, is this burning me or helping me grow?
Perfect question. And speaking of growth, in the next section, let's talk about daily habits that make it easier to stay confident and stop comparing in the first place.
So, Jake, now that we've talked about turning comparison into inspiration, let's share some practical habits to keep that positive mindset every day.
Yeah, I love that idea. Because honestly, it's not just about one big realization. It's something we have to practice daily.
Exactly. One thing that really helped me was journaling, writing down small wins every day. Even if it's tiny, like I spoke English for 10 minutes today, or I didn't check social media this morning.
Oh yeah, that's powerful. When you write things down, you start seeing progress instead of what's missing. It's like building a collection of small victories.
I like that phrase, a collection of small victories. It reminds you that you're moving forward, even if slowly.
Totally. For me, another habit is gratitude practice. Just taking 1 minute each morning to say 3 things I'm thankful for. It's simple, but it changes your focus.
Right, because comparison often comes from lack mindset, always thinking, I don't have enough. Gratitude helps shift that to, I already have so much.
Exactly. And another helpful trick is positive self-talk. I used to talk to myself harshly, like, come on, Jake, why can't you do better? Now I try to speak to myself the way I'd speak to a friend.
That's so important. I once read something that said, be careful how you speak to yourself. You're listening.
That's deep and true. It's funny how kind we can be to others, but so mean to ourselves.
Yeah, and that's why self-compassion matters. For learners, that might mean saying, it's okay if I make mistakes. I'm learning.
Exactly. Because every time you're kind to yourself, you're building confidence. And confidence naturally reduces comparison.
I also like doing a social media detox sometimes. Even just one day offline helps me reset.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I did that last month. I realized I wasn't missing much, but I was gaining peace.
True. It's like our minds get quieter and we start hearing our own voice again.
So to summarize this part, 3 simple habits. Write your wins, practice gratitude, and talk kindly to yourself.
And maybe unplug once in a while, because the less noise we have, the easier it is to hear our own voice.
Exactly. And that voice, your inner voice, is the only one that should guide your journey.
Beautifully said. And that leads perfectly into our final part, what life feels like when you finally stop comparing and just live freely.
You know, Anna, after all this talk, I keep thinking, what does life really feel like when you stop comparing yourself to others?
For me, it feels like peace. Not the kind of peace where everything's perfect, but the kind where you finally stop fighting yourself.
I love that. I think that's what we all want deep down, to feel enough, just as we are.
Exactly. When you stop comparing, you stop living for someone else's approval. You start living for your own joy.
Yeah. And something amazing happens. You begin to notice small, beautiful things again. Like your morning coffee tastes better. Your walk feels lighter. Your day feels calmer.
Right, because your focus comes back to your own life. You're not chasing anyone's path, you're walking your own.
You know what's interesting? The moment I stopped comparing my progress to others, I actually started growing faster.
Really?
Yeah, because I wasn't wasting energy on feeling bad, I was using it to improve. It's like comparison had been a heavy backpack, and once I put it down, I could finally move freely.
That's such a great metaphor. When we compare too much, we carry invisible weight. But when we let go, everything feels lighter. Our mind, our body, even our conversations.
True. And maybe that's the real lesson. Freedom comes when you focus on becoming, not comparing.
Wow, that's a beautiful line. Focus on becoming, not comparing.
Thanks. I guess it's something I try to remind myself every day. Because it's not like we can stop comparing forever, it's human. But we can choose what to do with that thought.
Exactly. We can pause, breathe, and say, I'm doing my best. My story is mine.
I love that. And maybe that's how confidence truly grows. Quietly, gently, one choice at a time.
Yeah. And for our listeners, if you remember just one thing from today, let it be this. You're already enough, even while you're growing.
Absolutely.
You know, Jake, I really enjoyed this conversation. It felt honest, like something we all need to hear once in a while.
Same here. I think today reminded me that comparison is part of being human, but it doesn't have to control us.
Yeah. When we practice gratitude, focus on our path, and speak kindly to ourselves, life becomes softer, more real.
And that's when we start learning English, or anything, with joy, not pressure.
Right. Because real English isn't about sounding perfect. It's about connecting with yourself, with others, with life.
I couldn't agree more.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Remember your pace, your story, your journey. They're all just right.
And as always, stay kind, stay curious, and stay confident.
Thanks for listening, and remember, real English is about connection, not perfection. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.